I'd like to call to order the May 11th joint committee meetings of Internal Services and Finance, Audit, and Budget. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next is the adoption of the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Duge.
Motion from Commissioner Duge, support from Commissioner Haw. Please vote.
That motion passes 12-0.
Thank you, Mike. Next up is public participation. How we'll do public participation is if there's anybody on the phone, we will let you speak first. You have a maximum 5 minutes on anything on the agenda. Or if you are in the Google Hangout or Google Meet, if you want to go through the chat and let us know, you have to press *6 to unmute yourself if you're on the phone. I'll wait just a little bit in case anybody's having any technical difficulties. Public participation going once. Public participation going twice. And public participation third and final time. There is another one at the end of the meeting if you were not able to get on. So with that, we will close public participation and move on to item 5A, purchases, multiple vendors, Sheriff's Office, Macomb Township Substation renovation hardware and services in the amount of $36,348. Take a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Duge, support from Commissioner Haw. Jaco, you're here. There you are. Take her away.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Hope everybody is safe and doing well. The first item that I have on here today is the Macomb Township Substation. The Macomb County Sheriff's Office and Macomb County Township Fire Department previously ran their operations from two separate stations on 23 Mile Road. Due to the fact that 23 Mile Road has been widened, they had to move the buildings back. It was too close to the road. And a single building is in the process of being constructed. The Sheriff's Department obviously is going to be housed there, or the component that we need there. Additional workspace in this building will allow for the officers to be co-located with the fire department to leverage office space and ensure a larger officer presence in the area. The request is for $36,348 to equip the facility with the technology needed to do their jobs. And that's about it, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jaco. Before we get going with questions, Captain Daniels, are you on here also?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, perfect. So, commissioners, if you have any questions, we have both Captain Daniels and Jaco on. First, we will go to Commissioner Drolet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hold on, let me speak this off. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I guess this a couple questions both for Jaco and the captain. Are the items that we're purchasing here things like a printer, monitors, other printer switches? Aren't those things we can just move from the existing building into the new building when it's created? What causes us to need brand new ones of those items?
So I can speak from my perspective over here. We did add some workstations from our previous substation. Was quite a bit smaller than this the new substation. I believe all of the printers that we had previously and the PCs that we'd used previously, I believe are being moved over. I think Crystal would know that, or Jacob, you would know that as well. So that's to answer your question.
Yeah, everything that we can reuse at the new facility, we reuse. We will not pull stuff out and let it sit somewhere and not reuse that equipment.
Okay,
so-
but I mean, but Jacob, why do we need a new printer? Don't we have a printer there? We're not adding the number of officers. We're not adding any new function. We're just moving essentially. Is that not correct?
To be honest with you, Commissioner, I don't know the exact layout, just because I'm not personally involved in it.
Okay.
But I can assure you that my instruction is to reuse every, piece of equipment that we can reuse. It might also be that the printer that was in place there was an old printer and they're just replacing it.
Right. I suspect, I don't know the case, but it makes sense it might be an older printer. I'm just worried that given the stresses that we're experiencing right now economically, might need us pinching pennies more than we normally do. And, if we can make do with some of the existing printers, even if they're older, if we can make do with some of the existing monitors and some of the existing equipment, that, I assume is functioning because it's being currently used.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, sir, but we are doing that. All of the previous PCs that we had at the old substation are being taken over to the new substation. The printers itself, I believe, I know we use the old printer, but we also have two separate offices. One is going to be a traffic office where our motor carrier works out of. Two other offices are for the lieutenant and the sergeant. I know we needed a printer in the traffic office because he is a motor carrier officer. He also sends and receives reports from the Secretary of State on his vehicle inspections that he does on the trucks. So that's one of the reasons why he does need the more printers are needed. Believe me, we've used everything that we could possibly take out of the old substation to put into the new substation. The new substation is going to be, like I say, our work area is going to be substantially enhanced as far as the amount of work stations we have currently to what we're going to.
So it's not
And
just
I can also
a move; it's enhancement and move.
When I say enhanced, I mean if I could show you pictures, no disrespect to Macomb Township, certainly at all. They gave us as much space as they could, but our space is for our deputies, for our substation is increased quite a bit. I don't have the exact square footage of how much more space that we have, but the workspace and the amount of workstations has increased. So that's going to contribute to the amount of printers and the amount of PCs and the drops that are going into this whole project. The overall project cost, and again, I should have Lieutenant Brian. He's been doing a lot of he goes to our meetings out there as a lieutenant out there. I think the dollar amount for the overall budget on this, it's north of 1.2 million, I think. And again, I think that the majority of our costs are just is this 36,000. So that's the county's contribution to this substation. Well, not Macomb Township, but the county portion, I should say.
I can also just mention that the new building is a 2-story building.
Right.
That was not the case in the past. That definitely also introduced some duplication, especially when it comes to printers and the way that equipment is set up.
Okay, and I hate to follow up with another question, but if this is money that if this is this is for the township of Macomb, essentially, which I represent, and I hesitate to ask this, but
Right.
shouldn't the township be paying for it?
It wouldn't hurt my feelings. That wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. This is, but the township has paid for a lot of the resources that are going to the substation.
Well, I don't mean, I mean, I'd like to get stuff free for my township, but if this substation exists to serve Macomb Township and the township is contracting with the county to provide the service, I would have thought that the township would then be paying for the service. Do we buy computer printers and laptops and other things for the East Point Police Department or for the Shelby Township Police Department when they move or when they change buildings?
We contract with Macomb Township contracts with the Macomb County Sheriff's Office to provide law
Right.
enforcement services. The contract that we have in place does not dig down into the weeds to tell us they can give us X amount of computers, X amount of printers for the amount of personnel that are assigned to the substation. The contract is pretty broad. It states that they need to provide a space for us to work out of as a substation.
So the contract stipulates they need to provide space, but it doesn't specify some of the
No, it
details,
does
like the space has to have a printer or the space has to have a whatever.
No, it does not. Some of the townships are pretty gracious and they support us. And Macomb Township has supported us with different things over the past, since I've become a captain. I mean, we've had different break and they've supplied us with things. But to answer the question, our contract does not say that they need to provide us with the actual end hardware. I think our contract does say they have to provide us with internet access and access to our network, our cable, our fiber. So.
Okay. I mean, I just want to make sure we're abiding by the contract and that I'm treating every community in the county equally.
I understand.
Okay. Well, I thank you for answering the questions and thank you, Jaco, as well. And Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next up is Commissioner Carabelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this leads pretty close to what Commissioner Drolet was saying. And Mr. Chairman, this isn't for you as of right now. I guess I'm going to ask Crystal if she's on the line. I would like to know of our budget, county budget, what impact have we received anything financial from finance as far as the pandemic and how it's affecting our county? Because I listen to the news, I'm sure like everybody else, and I hear about the other counties and cities are really from taking pay cuts and everything else going on. I'd like to know where we sit and if we had any information to the board, if Crystal's available.
Yes, I'm here. Steve Smeagol is going to report on that at the full board meeting on the 21st with his quarterly report.
Okay, I guess, Mr. Chairman, if you little attitude, Crystal, I guess I'd like to ask you, I would like to have that report prior to us finalizing any of these purchases, because that's going to make a determination between some serious wants and needs for replacing, printers. And as you go down the other items that are going to be coming up, we have to take a good look at this. And until we have that, I'll vote yes on this stuff to put it to full board. But I would like to have that report prior to the committees coming up. Reports, please. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next up is Commissioner Sauger.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what is the total cost of this printer? It's something that's been being used 7 days a week, 3 shifts at a time. It's got to be a damn good printer. So what is the cost of that?
Jake, I'm going to defer to you. I'm not sure what the cost of that printer is. I don't have a spreadsheet in front of me.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't have the details, but when we talk about printers, if it's just regular printers that's being provided, and that is what I think it is. I mean, we're talking $250, $300-$400 depending on the.
Okay, I don't want to I don't want to prolong it. That's not bad for what they got to use it for and how often. Let's get it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sauger. Next is Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. Jaco mentioned that there will be more workstations. Are we increasing the amount of staff there?
No, we are not.
Why would
We
we
have-
be increasing
we have-
the number of
yeah.
workstations?
For more efficiency. And we're hoping to grow eventually. I would think that that's one of the project plans to grow. There's space in that, in the substation that we're not utilizing right now. I'm looking at the costs and the projections that Crystal had sent us, on the PC costs and the things like that. But, the prior substation, again, I appreciate what Macomb Township had given us in the past, was substantially smaller than where we're going to now. And to answer your question, we're not adding more people, but we are adding more space. And more space
No,
means
yes. My
are
question
more
was-
efficient to get in and write their reports, are more efficient to get in and get off and get back on the street.
Okay. My question wasn't if we were at
Sorry, I'm not hearing.
stations.
I lost it.
Workstations.
I didn't hear that last comment. Sorry.
I just want to mention that currently, the way that it was set up currently, that officers were sharing PCs. So in this new environment, they will not be sharing PCs.
Okay, thank you.
I cannot give you the exact number, but I know that that was the case.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Seeing no other speakers, please vote to forward this to full board.
That motion passes 11-1 with Commissioner Romano voting no.
Thank you, Mike. Next, let's do items 5B and D together. If commissioners would like to do so, it's the same item for the same amount. One is a budget amendment and one is the statement of work for ImageSoft Inc., Mentis AI Smart Bench Judicial System in the amount of $46,080.
I'll make the motion, Commissioner Chairman. This is Rob Myjack.
All right.
I'll support Duzy.
Motion from Myjack, support from Commissioner Duje. Go ahead, Jaco.
This system is on-base Mentis AI Smart Bench solution that allows case documents and notes to appear in AI Smart Bench, and for the documents created and modified within Smart Bench to be sent to on-base. And that this has to do with the processes on the bench, and that's why the software is needed. It was implemented for 2 judges, probably a year ago, more or so, and to work with this and make sure that they are comfortable with the software, and they've gone through that process now. And at this point in time, what they want to do is extend this to 5 more judges. We put $97,500 in our capital budget for this year to do this. At this point in time, they're not going to extend it to all judges. They're going to extend it to 5 more judges that they believe that will use this software effectively. And then, that would be it for this project. The total cost that we're asking for is $46,080.
Thank you, Jaco. Are there any commissioners with questions or comments? I don't see any. I know Mike is finagling with the system because I kind of pulled an audible on him. So any commissioners with questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Drillette.
I apologize for taking a second to get to that, but I do have a quick question to Jaco. Jaco, was this in the approved budget for 2020? Was this one of the projects that was anticipated?
That's correct. It's one of the, I think it's actually the very first IT capital line item in our budget.
Okay, I appreciate that. I would encourage you to potentially look through that 2020 budget with an eye toward what happens if we have to potentially start scaling back some of the projects we had hoped to accomplish if things don't go as well as we'd like with the economy. I'd encourage that for, I think, all the department heads, that they start being conscious of what we might have to scale back on. So I'm going to go ahead and vote for this project, but I do think we need to start being very aware that we may not have as much as we had thought we were going to have. And that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Jacob, for answering the question.
No problem. And if I just can comment on that, I would like to let you know that we have already had conversations, you know, around that on projects that have kicked off and that have started, and projects that still need to be done, and you know, whether we need to continue with these projects. In other words, making the case for needs and wants, which is something that's always in front of us. So we already having those conversations to make sure that you know, budget-wise, that we are sensible about how we go about doing this in these difficult times.
Well, I appreciate it, Jacob, because I think when, you know, the budget was put together and approved, we were aware that, you know, the economy could potentially turn around, but we just didn't anticipate the circumstances that we're facing. So I appreciate your anticipating, you know, potential concerns and starting to evaluate alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, seeing no further questions or comments, please vote.
That motion passes 12-0.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we'll go to item 5C, agreements, information technology, maintenance agreements for second quarter 2020 package 6 in the amount of $48,150. Take a motion to approve.
By Commissioner Romano.
Motion by Commissioner Romano.
Support Carabelli.
Support from Commissioner Carabelli. Go ahead, Jaco.
Commissioners, this is one of the maintenance items that I bring to you on a regular basis. This is for support for the AT&T portion of the 911 dispatch center at Comtech. It's an amount $48,150, and they support and provide maintenance to the telecommunications portion of this.
Thank you, Jaco. Are there any speakers or questions? I don't see any. All right, seeing none, we have a motion and support. Commissioners, please vote.
That motion passes 12-0.
Thank you, Mike. With that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Kleinfeld for her committee.
Thank you. Item number 6, resolution authorizing the City of St. Clair Shores to collect the 2020 winter tax levy on the 2020 summer tax bill. Is there a motion?
So moved, Carabelli.
Motion by Romano to approve.
Moved by Romano, supported by Carabelli. Commissioner Ha.
Well, I was going to wait for the vote on the motion before I spoke.
Well, I would be going on to the next agenda item after the vote.
Okay, on this, it says a resolution authorizing St. Clair Shores to collect 2020 winter tax levy on the 2020 summer tax bill for all parcels with a total tax bill. Am I reading that correctly? $100 or less? I mean, how many parcels in St. Clair Shores are there that have a tax bill of $100 or less?
It's a winter tax bill, so it's not as unusual as you would think. We've been doing this, I think, for like about 4 years now. It wasn't worth their cost of mailings in sending out the tax bill on these very small tax bills. That's what it is. It's because it's a winter tax bill.
Okay, so it's a cost savings for St. Clair Shores. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, seeing no other speakers, please vote.
That motion passes 12-0.
Okay, item number 7, we're going to take these separately because we have Chief Deputy Treasurer Biondo here to speak to the first one. So this is a receive and file Treasurer's Office Progress Report. Do I have a motion?
Motion by Romano.
Moved by Romano, support?
Drollet, support.
Carabelli.
Support by Gillette. So Chief Deputy Treasurer Biondo, would you like to speak to this?
Hello, Commissioners. On behalf of the Treasurer, hopefully everyone's doing well. Can you hear me all right? Can everyone hear me? Good. We just wanted to let you know that this was originally intended for the Treasurer's Breakfast scheduled in early April. Obviously, with everything going on, it got postponed. We thought that it'd be important to get it out to the public now while it was more timely than, let's say, in the fall, which we envision scheduling or rescheduling the Treasurer's Breakfast too. So other than that, we believe it speaks for itself, and that's really all we had to say today on that.
Veronica, unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I muted so that there wouldn't be a lot of noise. Okay, I don't see any speakers, so please vote.
That motion passes 12-0.
Okay, thank you, Joe. All right, the next receive and file, let me pull it down here, is letter from Plant Moran dated April 28th, 2020, scope and timing of audit. Is there a motion to receive and file?
Carabelli, so moved.
Is there support? It's motion by Carabelli. Is there support?
Support by Romano.
Support by Romano. And we don't have anybody to speak to this. Is that correct? I'm guessing that's correct. Okay, I don't see anybody asking questions, so please vote.
That motion passes 12-0.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we have new business. Does anyone have any new business? Anyone having new business? All right, moving on to
Commissioner Kleinfeld, I see Commissioner Romano is requested to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know where I see that. Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm sure that everyone's having the same problem I have with this unemployment filing. I'm sure that constituents have contacted the commissioners to try to figure out what's the right process. In fact, I received a couple again today. Is there any commissioners that have a short, maybe what I'm looking for is a shortcut that we can tell these people? I mean, I'm trying to tell them be patient. It's working itself out. But I'm having more calls, and then when I see them in person, I'm getting the same thing. They're having a difficult time going online, trying to sign up. They're having even more of a difficult time to receive any of this money that's supposedly for unemployment. I would strongly look for some answers from any of the commissioners if they have anything that could add it to this. That's all I have, Chair.
Madam Chair,
I've had good response, Commissioner.
I'm sorry. Who's up to speak, Madam Chair? This is Commissioner Drollet. I'd like to speak on William Wait.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Drollet.
Thank you. Just in response to Commissioner Romano, of course, I've had the same thing, and the best option I could offer at the time was that they contact their state senator staff and their state representative staff because unemployment insurance is a state program. So I just had those numbers handy that put in the email, here's their line to their office. Each of them in their office, here's their names. The staff has somebody on staff whose job it is to handle constituent issues. And honestly, that's the best I can think of to do at this time. I mean, I've had my own brother and other family members struggling with that same issue. So I wish I could offer something better than that, and don't mean to push, pass the buck. But the state lawmakers are in a better position to contact the State Department and help them get an answer from state officials than unfortunately we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Drollet.
Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. I have been doing the same thing as Commissioner Drollet. I have given them Representative Churkin's number. He does contact them back and then makes me aware that in fact his office has contacted the individual back. They're very appreciative of that initiative, recognizing that it's not a county issue, but a state issue. And John making me aware that he has in fact had his office contact the individuals is very helpful when you go back to them. So thank you for that. And once again, I think I just agreed with Leon. There's something going on here.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As one of those staff members that have been dealing with unemployment for weeks and weeks and weeks, I can assure you there is absolutely no shortcut, but calling your state rep or state senator, only call one of them, don't call both, because then we can get their information in to the system. There is no real rhyme or reason that I'm aware of as to the order they're getting back with people. People have been getting phone calls in 3 to 5 days or 7 to 10 days, or sometimes even more. So, we are just one more option if folks can't get through by, the online chat, the messenger, or the phone. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
That was the voice of actual experience.
It's a stressed out voice of actual experience.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any others wishing to speak. So we'll move on to public participation. We'll start with the ones, members that may be on the residents that may be on the phone. Does anyone wish to be heard? Anyone wish to be heard? So then I will take a look. Anyone wish to be heard online?
Madam Chair, you might want to notify people to hit *6 to unmute themselves if they do want to be heard.
I think you just did. Okay. You may need to hit *6, and some of you may need to hit *6 and also unmute your own button if you hit it. Does anyone wish to be heard? Okay, so back to the people that may be on the video one. Anyone wish to be heard? I don't see anyone. So seeing none, we'll close public participation. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Drollet.
By motion to adjourn by Drollet, supported by Duge. Please
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thursday.
See everybody on Thursday. Bye.
Good timing, Leon.
Be safe.
Yes, yeah.